Hey everyone. My name's Ryan and this is Developers Garage. I want to thank you all for joining us. Had a pretty eventful morning. The stream was running a little bit behind today. That was on purpose this time. Last time was due to unexpected technical difficulties. This one was due to an unexpected last minute meeting. Those happen from time to time. So we got to make allowances. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. We're going to have a couple little things I want to go over real quick before we get started on our project today. Today we're going to be hopefully finishing up our contribution to the StreamTools that Mr. Jeff Fritz, also known as C# Fritz, has been working on. Actually, here lately he's been working on more of a Stream Deck software development kit. Or I think that's about right, for .NET developers. So being able to develop cool widgets that can be used with the Stream Deck. If you don't know what a Stream Deck is, Stream Decks are these awesome little devices that streamers plug into their PCs and allow them to basically run commands, launch applications, do different things within different applications. It's more like a macro tool. You can even chain these little actions together so you can easily perform one activity. I guess is the best way to say it. My apology, my PC seems to be running hot, so I apologize if you see the screen freeze just a little bit. I don't know why. It's just bouncing all around, and I don't really have much running on it, but OBS and PowerShell. I've got a Docker container running, but not much. Not really using it. Not really a lot going on in it, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Why the CPU is so high, but. My apologies. We'll try and get those things sorted out. So let's kick it off. Let's get started here. So first thing, some of the things I want to talk about are upcoming conferences. So I love going to developer conferences. I love hearing about all different new concepts, new ideas that are coming out, as well as other people's experiences about how they're using a product, how they saw the use of a product, or a better way to implement something. That just starts my brain going. A lot of different ideas, a lot of different things start churning, and it's a very cool event. It's awesome to be in an area with a bunch of people who are just as passionate about software development as you are. So if you have the ability to go, then I say find one local. If your company doesn't really support you in that way and sending you to those events, there's a lot of ones in different areas. In the Midwest, we have a couple. I'm from Tulsa, and in Tulsa, we have the Tulsa Tech Fest. It happens every year, usually end of summer, during the summer. There's also one called Thunder Plains out in Oklahoma City. On screen right now, you can see I've got NWA Tech Fest, which is the Northwest Arkansas Tech Fest. It's one that I've been privileged to speak at the past couple years. It's a one-day conference in Fayetteville. All different types of topics, from different technology to different patterns that can be used during development to lifestyle. How do developers work? How do you live? How do you make sure you are a successful developer without burning yourself out? I've seen some great talks on that. So check it out. If you're actually looking to speak, this is a great one to get started at. Like I said, past 2 to 3 years, I've been speaking at this conference, and I've absolutely loved it. I am actually hoping to get a talk submitted this year, and hopefully I'll get to speak there as well. On that note, the call for speakers is open until tomorrow. So if you're looking to speak, you want to get started speaking, a local conference like this, NWA Tech Fest, is a great way to get your feet wet, to get started, to see if you like it. They are absolutely wonderful with new speakers. The attendees are great. They're very open. They're very merciful, and they support you when you do your talk. So it was an awesome experience. Another great conference that the call for speakers is open till tomorrow, so the 28th at the end of the day, I think 11:59 p.m. is that conference. I was supposed to speak here last year, and I was really excited, but stuff happened, stuff came up, as it always does, and I was actually unable to get there. I got another talk lined up. I'm getting ready to submit for it, so if you're wanting to speak, these guys are great at supporting their developers, supporting their speakers. They provide their lodging for you, so that's one less thing you have to worry about. All you got to do is get yourself there. The other thing is, this one is actually hosted at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. So if you've not heard of the Kalahari Resorts, they're indoor water parks attached to the hotel. So for me in the Midwest, Great Wolf Lodge is the comparative. And so take your family, enjoy the water park. You get passes to the water park when you stay there. So it's great conference. A lot of great speakers, a lot of speakers from major companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, maybe even Apple, to speakers like me who come and talk about topics that I'm passionate about. So it could be you. I hope you, if you want to apply, I hope you do try. The worst thing they could do is say no, and don't let that get you down. If you get rejected, I've been rejected through words are hard today. I've been rejected by several conferences, and you know what? The best thing you can do is, if you get the opportunity, ask them why you weren't chosen. Ask them, hey, is there something that wasn't right? How can I improve my topic, my submission? Because you're not submitting the full talk, you're submitting just an abstract, a high-level 10,000-foot view of what you're going to be talking about. So you don't have to have it all prepped up front. You just have to kind of know what you want to talk about and give that elevator pitch. Give 1 or 2 sentences about what you're going to speaking to get the juices flowing, the salivation flowing from the submission committee. And then once you get accepted, you've got that time till the conference starts. So for this one, you have, what is it? So March, April, May, June, July, 5 months to prep your talk. And you do want to prep your talk. From someone who's gone into a talk and just tried to wing it, don't try that. So this is another great conference. The other thing, as a .NET developer, as a Microsoft guy, a fanboy, I am a fanboy. I've been using them for decades. Visual Studio 2019 launch. So if you're watching my stream, you're going to see me use Visual Studio 2019. I've been using the preview since I started. Well, no, I think the first one I was using 2017. 2019 preview, I've been using it for most of my streaming. I actually use it for my day-to-day development at my job. So I am a software engineer lead. I do some development. I do help a lot of developers out, though, but I use Visual Studio 2019. So the awesome thing is you don't have to worry about if your partner or your peers are using Visual Studio 2017. And you may have some issues if they try to use 2015 and below. But if you've been using 2017 for a while, 2019, you're not going to run into any compatibility issues. 2019 is not going to try and change things in your solution file, project file, saying, hey, you must open this with this new browser, or new IDE. Nope, Visual Studio 2019 is an awesome, fast, get you up going fast, integrated development environment. One I love using. It's getting closer to the speed of Visual Studio Code. Not quite. Code is still pretty fast. But the actual, this is why we're talking about this. The launch event. The launch event is finally here. So I've been using it for a few months now. And it's awesome to see that Tuesday, April 2nd, that they are actually going to be releasing it. It's going to be out of preview. It's going to be not necessarily the release candidate. It's going to be the release, the first release of it. They're going to have a big online launch event so you can watch and see them, what improvements they've made from preview 2 to now. See how you can use it, how you can help improve it. like I said, it's going to be online. You click the calendar event, get it out of your calendar so you can watch it. Typically, these things I watch. I put them on my monitor while I'm actually doing my day-to-day job. Something catches my ear, I just hop over and see what it is and bounce back and forth like that. That way it's not saying, hey, boss, I need to take off for, half the day and watch this awesome launch event. You can do it. You can do both. So awesome things, awesome tools, awesome events. So let's get started into code. So what we've been doing, we've been working on the Fritz StreamTools. As you can see here, it's forked from the C# Fritz StreamTools, the dev branch specifically. Pardon me there. Allergies. We've had some weird, wicked weather here in the Midwest. If you're from the Midwest, you understand what I'm saying. It was nice. It was beautiful a day or so ago. Now the cold's coming in. We got freezing drizzle. It just totally messes with my sinuses. So forgive me. You may hear me mute for a minute as I get something, maybe blow my nose. I'm not going to try and do it into the mic, so you don't have to hear that. So back to it. So the Fritz StreamTools. You want to help out? You want to contribute? Go to here. We're at github.com/devsgarage. Fork your own branch. Help us out a little bit. Submit a PR, and then we'll review it on stream and we'll get it going. Oh, I forgot one of the exciting things. So last night I had the opportunity to go to a local user group meetup for our .NET developers, Tulsa.net, TulsaDevelopers.net. And I'm now, I think it's director of special projects, which is awesome. I'm excited to help my local community out, to be a part of our user group, hopefully help expand it a little bit. We've had a great president, Sean Whitesell, who's been doing it for, a decade plus, I think now. So he's been doing a great job. But what they need to help with some of the other stuff. He's been doing a lot. He works too. So these user groups are ran by part-time individuals. They're people who, this isn't their full-time job. It's what they do because they like helping. They like contributing and giving back to the community. So the director of special projects, what that role is basically helping Sean out and getting some of the work done that we need to get done. So in this case, we're going to be redoing the website for TulsaDevelopers.net. So this site was created, I honestly don't know how long ago, but it's actually created in SharePoint. Whoa, what do you want? This connection's not private. Yeah, that's fine. TulsaDevelopers.net. I swear that's what it is. Maybe it's secured. Needs to be secured. Come on. Let's go, internet. Don't fail me now. Let's go to our friend Tulsa Developers.net. Let's see what that brings up. Tulsa Developers Association. So this is their meetup site. If you're not from Tulsa, you're from a different city, look up, Google it. Go to Meetup, meetup.com. Find a local user group and get involved. It's a great way to learn about different patterns and practices. Long ago, back when I actually started my professional career back in 2007, I went to every user group meeting I could go to. I went to the SQL one. I went to the .NET one. I went to the web one. I think I even went to a SharePoint one at one point in time. Yeah, that's not right. I bet you got to put the WW in front of it. Yeah, that's an issue, guys. All right. So I went and just started going to user group meetings, and it's how I expanded my skill set, how I grew as a developer. I wanted to learn new things. It's how when I started out doing desktop development, I knew, you know what? Desktop's really not going to be the future. Web is coming. Web is going to be it. And so I started learning a lot about web development, specifically within Microsoft, because that's the stack I'm most familiar with. As I grew as a developer, I branched out from Microsoft, looking at Angular is something I've definitely becoming more familiar with now. So it's a great way to get out there, get exposure, broaden your skill set. It's also a great networking tool. Meet other developers from other companies in your area. If you're looking to go someplace, recruiters hang out there as well. Get in touch with them. They can probably help you find your next career if your current company just can't offer that for you. So anyway, so as you can see, this is actually hosted within SharePoint. Ooh, shiver. Oh, it is not something I would ever think of doing. Yeah, I don't know why. It probably actually made sense back then because I don't think it's been updated in a long time. At one point, Microsoft was pushing for companies to use SharePoint as their website. Not anymore, no longer. So it needs to get updated. He just doesn't have the time. Sean has a lot of stuff going on. He's got a family. He's got the user group he's worked with. It does take a lot of work to find speakers, the location, everything. So he does a lot of stuff in the little amount of time he has because he also has a full-time job as a senior developer. So we're going to take this, we're going to push this, we're going to move this over into .NET Core 2.2 with probably Razor pages. So one thing, I'm not a super web guy, but it's something I want to grow. I want to get more familiar with. On our project we're looking at right now, it's done in Razor pages. I looked at Razor a long time ago meaning a couple years, probably 3 or 4 actually. And I didn't really like them. The IntelliSense wasn't there. It was very hard for me to figure things out. The errors were just not as intuitive as I would have liked. It just wasn't a great experience. And so I started moving to a lot of client-side stuff, Angular being specifically what I was targeting. Excuse me. And so, but we're going to take this content, we're going to move it over into a .NET Core, ASP.NET Core 2.2 Razor page front end. Sean's got us we're going to host it in Azure Websites. We're going to develop a CI/CD pipeline. We're going to do this all publicly on Twitch, as well as we're going to put it on GitHub. So anybody that in the Tulsa area that wants to help, wants to contribute, come on. I'm going to have the GitHub repo out there. We're going to get it started. We're going to make a great website for our user group. I think it's a great way to help the community learn, help everyone learn. So, just why this whole stream exists, because I want to help you, the developers, or somebody who wants to be a developer, learn and grow. So, Fritz StreamTools is what we're working on. So let's see where we're at today. So if we look over here, over there, yeah, make sure I'm pointing the right way. Over here in the bottom corner of the screen, you can see our agenda. So actually, that's the tool we're working on right now. We're actually making this agenda more dynamic. Because right now, if I wanted to change what the order of those items are, what items are there, if I want to do any of that, I've got to take the whole site down, go edit the file that contains all those, rebuild, recompile the application, and spin back up my Docker container. And boom, it'd be ready to go. What we've done is we've made it to where you don't have to do that. You can do everything from from the admin site now. So let's take a look at it. Let's go ahead and just get this running in IIS. All right, as it spins up here, I don't like using Edge for development, for web development. It's the default. I know I can change it. I just don't, because I have some other projects that I work on that I have to do it in. Edge is the primary target. Edge and IE, that is. Just don't get me started on why we're still targeting IE, but we are. So I'm just going to minimize this. It's running. I can go ahead and pull it up in Chrome. I guess I should grab that URL here. That'd be easier, right? We'll switch on over to here. La-di-da-di-da. All right, so there we go. Piece we're specifically focused on is rundown. So there you go. So this right here, this page right here, this is what actually is that yellow box. It's actually a clear background, so it shows up on whatever background I put there. So there is an admin component to this. So same thing, except we're going to type admin. And so I actually have this running on a monitor off screen that you can't see that allows me to check and uncheck these items. So I can uncheck all these, and you're going to see over here, boom, they're gone. Oh, except I can uncheck everything. Every 5 seconds it checks to see if new items need to be updated, added, removed. So things we've done on previous themes, we've added the ability to insert items. So if we click on this edit button, I can now hit the add button down here and insert the item, a new item. We have the ability to now delete items. So if I hit delete here, it removes that item, and then I guess let's do that. Let's give you 2 screens here. All right, over here you can see it actually deleted that item above there. All right, so we delete another one. We'll show over here. Boom, 5 seconds later it's gone. Yeah, within 5 seconds it's gone. We made it so we can't check it. So we want to separate the admin functionality of editing items, adding items, deleting items from the actual functionality of checking the box. 2 different actions, 2 different activities that I kind of see. Maybe it could have been 2 pages, but we want to keep it simple. So we've added the ability to change the title. So we can call this now Agenda. It's not on there. That was done a few streams ago. The ability to change the text of new items. Starting now. Okay. So you can see it's updating. I can add my new item. Look there, it just added over there. You click it at the right moment, things just kind of seem to happen fast. Last stream, we spent the stream focused on, hey, Jacques, how you doing? Sorry, I am trying to get better at monitoring my chat here. So welcome to the chat room. Thanks for joining me. One of the things we did last stream, we refactored the API. So there was some things in there. It was calling the repository directly, and it just didn't make sense from an architecture's perspective. You want to create those layers, those separations of concerns. So we took the repository, we put a service in place that allowed us to basically access our repository to add, delete, perform the basic CRUD operations for the items, as well as another repository to store what I call metadata for the rundown component. And that was refactoring the API. So today what we're focusing on is style. We're going to add some style to this. So if you look at this, I don't like this. Now, you're going to find out I am not a designer by any means. I kind of know what looks good, kind of from a techie perspective. I have a beautiful wife that keeps me in style in every other way because I am a nerd. So if I didn't have her, I don't clothes shop very often without her. But thanks to her, I actually look good when I go out in public. I try to look good here too. So what we're going to do today, we're going to fix some styling. All right. So let's come back over here. Visual Studio, where'd you go? There you are. We're going to hit stop this. I don't actually have to stop it. So I can stop this. Then the beauty of it is IIS Express is still running here in the background. So if I right click here, you can see my project's actually still there. It's still being hosted in IIS Express. So just because I stop this doesn't mean my sites are actually not running. Nice little development thing. I like it because especially when I'm developing in JavaScript and doing some style stuff, I don't have to, does that look right? Oh, it reset it. Got it. I don't have to rebuild, recompile, because it's JavaScript. It's actually stuff that is interpreted by the browser. There we go. Make sure if I hit refresh, it's kind of weird that it did that. It's like it started up a new instance. Interesting. It's like it restarted it for me. Oh well. Okay, so we're going to be messing with styles. So you got some basic styles here. So I'm going to go ahead and close all of these because we're going to be focused in a certain area here. Because we're going to start with, we're going to style this page here, the admin, make it a little better. So if you notice here when I hit the edit button, it changes this from an H1, maybe H2 to an input box. And then things bounce up. We're going to fix that. So let's come over here to, I think, pages. Yes, pages admin. There we go. All right. So right now, all the styles actually defined here. It's really right now is only defining the UL and the LI and the item text. Actually, this is something we added, so we made our input boxes wide. Like, see, my hand actually goes off the screen if I do that. So it's got to be wide. There we go. And I bumped the mic. Oh, well, it happens. So you get to see me fumble around with CSS. Lucky you. All right. So where do we want to start? So let's start with that title. So we have our edit button here. Now, it is an H2, but when we click the edit button itself, it changes it to an input. So we already have it's a class of title. So we can use that. Now, what is it we actually want to do? How do we want it to look? Oh, I don't want it to move back up. That's one of the things I don't like. One of the easy ways to prevent that, we can actually add a break, line break in there. I actually don't think I need the slash. Oh, it's going to put it there for me. All right. So the break, so we could do that. So if I save that, let's come back here. Nope, this one. Let's hit refresh. Now let's see. Yeah, there we go. So there, it's still, now it's instead of coming back up here, and we've said, hey, it's a break. We don't want it to actually be on the same line. The H2, H1 has its own styling built in, which actually moved it down, changed the display, I believe. So we could have done that. We could have kept it that way, but that's fine. Simple. Keep it simple. Make it work, make it right, make it fast. So, all right, let's see what else we can do here. So we did have to bring in the bootstrap because that's what our lovely little trash can is. Our lovely little trash can is a bootstrap glyphicon. Yeah. All right. So we want to keep the spacing a little bit. So let's do something here. Let's look at what the H2 stuff is. So I could go to Google. I could go to DuckDuckGo, go to web crawler if you're from back in the day, and Google on how to do it. Or you know what? I can just use the developer tools built into Chrome, and I can look and see what the properties are on this. So it does have a margin 20 and a bottom 20. Okay, so we can take that. We can use that on ours. Font size of 30. Do you want to keep the font size? Why don't we try it? Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just leave that. Maybe we'll put the font weight in there. So let's try those. Let's do those couple little things and see what it does. See what it looks like. Trial and error sometimes is the best way to get things done. So we want to do margin top, margin bottom. So you can do specifically margin top, margin bottom. I believe you can also set them in line here. So I think it goes left, top, right, bottom, I think is the order it goes in. So, but you know what? The best way to do it explicitly, since I don't want to mess with potentially the left and the right, I'm going to explicitly call out the top. So, and it was 20 pixels. Get my hands on the home row here. Margin bottom, 10 pixels. Okay. Oh, it looks like my stream froze for a second. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I'm kind of monitoring it down here, trying to see how things going. I'm not seeing any notifications from Streamlabs telling me something's going on. I don't think. No, not seeing any. So hopefully that was just my my little machine I have over here just buffering a little bit. So I have my chat actually broken out into on a separate device because I find that sometimes my streaming machine can get bogged down. So try to keep it as light as possible. So we said margin, we said font weight 500 and font size 30 pixels. $30 oxels. And font weight, it's 500, right? Just 500, medium. All right. So let's come back here to this. Refresh. Yeah, we shouldn't see a change there. If I hit edit. Well, that didn't work right now, did it? Does it have to be? Now, see, let's find out, did it actually pick it up or not? Let me do a hard refresh here. No. So there's a chance that it didn't actually pick up our changes. So Bootstrap is overriding. It's also possible Bootstrap is overriding our changes. I just want to make sure before I go the next route of actually building and rerunning it that I don't see my changes in here. Up here to the head, let's look at the style. So there's the title. Input type. No class. Now, did I mess that up whenever I did? So I put type as text, ID as title. So I didn't put the class as title whenever I did that. All right, let's make that change real quick. So as you can see, we're actually going to modify this template we have that puts in that input for us. Where is it at? On edit click. So basically we check if our edit state, depending on what we're doing, we put in something a little bit different. So this is the one for that. Let's go ahead and add class equals. Now I may need to, we'll find out. I may need to rebuild for this. I may not. Class title. There we go. Let's hit a refresh here. There we go. Look. Now that worked. Okay, so I did not actually have to rebuild. That's nice. I like it when I don't have to do that stuff. All right. So that looks better. I like it. Did we do anything better with that? I don't know. Let's move on. Maybe we can change. I don't want to get bogged down. Let's do the one thing I do want to do. I want to get this off this edge. This bothers me. I hate when these things are bumped up next to each other. You can see here there's actually, I'm guessing it's Bootstrap doing that. I could be totally wrong on that, but if we look at our body actually has probably a margin on. No. Our div container class actually has a margin on it. And so we want to kind of replicate that a little bit, I think. Now, here's a question. If I bring this down, is it a hard margin? No. So my guess is that's actually Bootstrap. So let's go take a look. All right, so there's our admin. We want to actually look at the rundown real quick. And you know what? I'm trying to get much better at this. So one of the things that I do always want to make sure we do is I want to do small commits. So not necessarily small pushes, but small commits. That allows us to, if we have to roll back one little change, we can go pick a specific commit and roll just that one back. And if we put a whole bunch of changes into one commit, guess what? If we have to roll back, we have to roll everything back. So make one small change. If it looks good, looks right, commit it. And Git, so I'm big on using the Git command line right now, or using Git from the command line. I can do all this in Visual Studio. Let's look at that real quick. So Visual Studio does have all this built in. If I go over to my Team Explorer here, and I go to, I think, branches. No, it's actually changes. There it is, changes. You can see here I can do all that. I can stage this one. If I don't stage them, by default, it's going to take everything in there. The command line makes you stage things, which is kind of nice because then you get to see everything. It's kind of a safeguard is what I like to look at it as. But I can go ahead, I could commit everything, put my message, or I can do my stashes. You can do it all from there. One thing I found though is it takes sometimes a little bit for that UI to update. It's getting better, but because we do it from the command line, there is no UI to update. It's all processed and it's fast and it's in the background. So I'm trying to get much better at using command lines. The other thing is I'm not bound to an IDE. I'm not bound to a program that I develop in. Although I love using Visual Studio, I can go to Visual Studio Code and work in it, and I can still use the same command line tools. Each one may have its own way of working with Git and repositories, which means something you may or may not have to learn, which is not a bad thing. But this is going to be universal. It's going to work for all of them. So to git add dot, basically everything I've changed, I want to make sure I get it staged. So as you can see, it's in red, which means it's not staged. Once it goes to green, it is. So one point of clarity. If I get the colors wrong, I'm sorry. So I am red-green colorblind. These are actually very prominent enough that I can actually tell a difference between them. There will be times that I don't get it right. Another thing that my lovely wife helps me with is make sure my color palette is working together. My shoes, my pants, my belt. She helps me make sure everything is matching and it coordinates well. So thank you, honey. I love you. All right. So also it tells you up here, changes not staged for commit. And down here it says changes to be committed. So it's real simple. Once we want to commit it, commit, and then we do a -m for message. I could write out message, but I like the shortcut way. And then I just put my message in between double quotes. I think you can use a single tick if you want to do a multi-line message. Here we're not. We're just going to do one simple one. Update styling on title input. That sounds right. That's good. Doesn't need to be long, doesn't need to be wordy. So I could then take this, I could then push it up to our repo. I'm going to hold off on that for now. And I'm going to go back and we're going to come back here. And if we come back here, you can see Visual Studio even recognized that we've already committed this. And so it's not here anymore. As well as you see our little lock says it's checked in. It's committed. All right, so what were we working on next? Container. So if I look at my rundown, there's actually a div class container that all that is stored in. If I look over here at use control tab, look at my admin here. Let's come back up here. Everything's actually just sitting in the body. So I may be able to help this. This may be quick. Div class equals container. So one of the other things that's awesome is the IntelliSense is so much better in 2017, or I'm sorry, 2019. If you're used to 2017 and your IntelliSense being a little bit flaky, I've had nothing but an awesome experience with 2019. So get it, check it out. Like I said, I've not had any adverse experiences flipping back and forth between 2017 and 2019. Everything has just worked out of the box for me. All right, so we want to go ahead and surround all our stuff in this div. All right, and then this styling stuff kicks in, and that is not right. Wow, that just did not style well. Okay, so there's that. I think that's right there. Let's take all this and move it over just a little bit. Nope. Yep, perfect. All right, take this. I don't know what's causing now. So this is one thing that I have been experiencing is this weird styling. Yes, Jockreys, yes. Visual Studio 2019 for the win. It's weird. I don't know if it's this project because I don't experience this in other projects. So my thought is that there is something in and I think there is one of these in here. Is it in his solution files? And the editor config that is just not jiving with 2019. The indent style or something is just not working correct. So all right, let's take a look here. All right, I think that's right. Did I save? Yes, so we can come over here. I do Control-Shift-R for a hard refresh. So look at that. Nice. So it moved it over, got it off there. It even changed my text box a little. Let's look at that. Let's see what that actually bought us. I just have to remove the container class here. So you see it there. If I do Control-Shift-R, it didn't change the checkboxes. It looked like they did. Maybe it's just they look better because they're off the border. Control-Shift-R, there we go. Oh, that looks so much better. One thing I also want to do, I think I want to get it off the top. So now it's bumped up there on the top, which is that edit button is, and it's not really, don't really like that. I don't like it touching the edges like that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe to you, it works for you, but me, not really. All right. So we've got that. So I could add a little bit here. So I could do, I'm going to create some main. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to use container because I want it to be able to let Bootstrap handle it. That's Bootstrap's class. I'm going to create my own. I'm going to call it main. And we're going to do a margin dash top, and we'll pop it off 20. That sounds about right. Sounds good to me. Make sure we add that here to our class. So bring that down. That's nice. I like that much better. All right. So where do we go from here? All right, so let's look at this. Let's do our edit. Yeah, so much better, so much more readable, in my opinion. I like it. Those are still, that's fine. That's what we want. What else can we do here? A little bit of spacing between these items. You know, that if I do that, that looks okay there, but a little. You know, the more I look at it, the more this grows on me. But I think I want to put some space. Let's see what it looks like with some space. So that's just an easy. We're just going to add another class to our LI here. Now this one we're going to have to add something a little bit more because we do add, when we add new items, we create a new LI. So we'll have to add something to our template down below. And we're going to call this, what do we want to call this? That's the check item. That gets the class item text. We call this class the UL's item list. Can we just call it item? Item? No, just item. Let's see what item looks like. Is there already an item? Oh, Bootstrap has something called item. So we don't want to do that. See what that does. That may do something we don't like. Maybe do something we do like. Let's find out. So that's an item. Go to edit. Yeah, it didn't. I don't know what it did, if it did anything. So, but we'll change something. We're not going to call it item. We're going to call it. So that's called items list. Let's call this list item. I know it could be a little confusing sometimes, but read it as it is. If you read it as it is and you always expect it to be what it is, what it says it is what it is and what it does, everyone's all the happier. Because then I don't have to read documentation. So list item. And we're going to put some, let's try some padding. Yeah, let's see what padding does. Padding, top, we'll do 5 pixels. And we'll do 5 more on the bottom, just for good measure. All right, that looks good. Control Shift. That was E. I don't know what that does. Control Shift R. Okay. That's a little better. Now, I think I only want to do it on the edit, though. I think I liked it kind of like that when it was non-editable. If I click that, that should still work over there. I haven't broken the functionality. I'm just changing styles here. All right, so I think I got an idea on that one. Let's check this out. Okay. So we do have a class of list item here. That would require me to change. So on our edit state, we go through and we get the, let's see. This is item.id. So let's start off with the first one. That's changing that. So that's current item. That's the text, replacing the text. Item list.children.each. And that's just appending it to the li. So the li is actually coming in here. So I could do it here. Use a little jQuery here. So one of the things I've been working on getting better at is jQuery and JavaScript. Not my thing. I do C#. C# is what I do well. But we all need to learn a little bit more. So let's add class. We're going to add the class list item. And the other thing I want to do up here is when I go through, so that's removing each element. Do I have a spot where I actually go through and, well, let's just see what this looks like. All right. Want to make sure I removed it from our main template up here. Item, so I want to get rid of this one. All right, let's come back over here, do our hard refresh. All right, back to normal. I do this. There we go. Here's the thing. It's going to still be there because I haven't removed it whenever we go back off our edit state. So that's the next thing we need to do. So in this part of the if statement, so if our edit state is true, we're switching it to false. So we're changing some things out here. This is getting, so this is the item list. Check item. I don't have anything in here, I think, that actually... This may work, though. Because I think that's just a class. Yes. Same idea, same concept. Now, there are probably better ways to do this. Again, make it work, make it right, make it fast. First things first, make it work. So we're getting it working. Index and element. Could probably just go with index there, but we're not going to. I'm going to try and hurry this along because I do have another meeting, I think, at 2. So I got about 30 minutes. I think we can get this done and then. All right. So we're just going to follow the same pattern as above. Element. And we're going to do dot remove class. And we're going to say list item. All right, let's check it out. Again, trial and error. Not the one I wanted. This is the one. Hard refresh. Get me back to here. There we go. Back. There we go. Back and forth. Back and forth. Perfect. All right. A little bit better, a little bit easier for me to discern. I wonder if there's a way to style the inputs. Let's go. Let's commit. Let's do a little commit here. Let's get our get status. The one thing to always remember, get status is going to tell you what's changed, what hasn't. How does your branch compare to the remote branch up there, up top, out there in the cloud? All right. So get add. Everything we did, get commit. The other thing is by forcing me to do this, it actually makes me better at it, and I learn better by doing. I'm one of those people that if I do it and I do it repetitively, it becomes second nature. It becomes very easy for me to do. So we're going to do add styling to admin we did a couple things. We added the main div around elements in the body. Bossy, yeah, be my daughter sometimes. Love you, honey. And then we styled list items for spacing. Let's change that. We added spacing between items. Add spacing between list items. There we go. Perfect. Ship it.
Just do it!
Yes, just do it. All right. I'm doing it. We're getting it done here. So come back here. All right. What else we want to do? What else? So there's that. This add button. Do we want to make this add button look better? Can we make an add button look better? I think we can. Well, that's an interesting. It was kind of freaky. I was in here and I hit Alt Tab. I guess it wasn't registering my Alt because it was just tabbing between the this field. That was a weird feeling. When technology goes wrong.
Ain't nobody
Nobody got time for that.
Nope. No time for technology screwing up. I got a lot of work to do. All right. What are we going to do here? We're going to look. We're going to use our friend Google. Actually, I'm going to try something new. DuckDuckGo. Basically, it's a private way to search in browsing. So they're not monitoring what you do. They're not tracking you. Some people like it. A lot of people are actually using this more. I've not really used it, but let's give it a shot. I've gotten used to Google. Been something I enjoyed using. So, all right, DuckDuckGo. What are we looking for here? CSS style button. Let's see if there's any cool looking buttons out there. I'll do some images here. Oh, look at that. Those are kind of nice. Well, that's an interesting one. It's very retro. Add the plus sign. You know, that'd be if we added the plus sign to it. No. Let's change some style. Add button. Add CSS to button. Yeah. CSS buttons, of course. Let's see what you got to offer. All right. Let's take a look at here real quick. So there's the default button. There's a CSS button. Nice. And that's all they did for it. There's different buttons there. Different font sizes on the button. Ooh, border radius. I think I have something I want to try. Let's give it a shot. Let's go. Let's do this. So we're going to find our add button here. Where'd you go, Mr. Add Button? We actually create you, I believe. Or do we just hide you? All right, let's come back up here real quick. Let's take a look. It does exist here, but it gets hidden. So that's what it's being done. All right, so we're going to add a class here. Button class, you know, hey, why not? So if you're not used to CSS, I want to put a space. It just, well, OCD in me. I like spaces between my stuff. The dot indicates I'm going after a class. If I do this specifically, like an li, that means I'm focusing specifically. I want this to apply to all elements of li. It's going to apply to all of them. This one is just only saying anything that has the class of title. There are a couple different other ways inside CSS to denote your target. You can actually chain them. I want to have something with the class of button within a div or within a paragraph or something. You can actually chain these together. That way it's get your targeting down to pretty fine. Here we're just going to focus on button. Actually, we're going to call this add button class. And we'll go change this down here. Be more descriptive. I don't want you to guess that this is for all buttons. I want it to be for the add button. And so what did they tell us to do over there? Border radius. Border dash radius. So they did 50%. I want to do 100%. I want to see if I can get a circle. Let's see what it looks like. What they did? Percent? Yep, that looks right. All right, let's check this out. Let's see what this does for us. Whoa. I kind of like that. Now I'm going to try, and I'm actually going to change the text on here. I'm going to put a plus. Getting better, getting better. Okay, so what I'm going to do also is I want to add a font weight to it. Ooh. And we're going to go to, let's try 700 here. See what 700 looks like for us. I got to have my spacing. And we may want fonts, bump up the font size a little bit. Let's try 28 pixels. See what that looks like. Whoa. We may want to set a width on this as well. So I'm getting it. I'm liking it. I wonder if there's a way to remove the drop shadow. So there's a shadow on hover. I wonder if I can just do a box shadow nothing. Oh, that's the other thing to do. You can add these different states. So a hover, a couple different states you can do. You can do on a hover. There's just a dot disabled. But that's that. I want to come back up here to this one where I actually had the try it yourself. Gives me a little editor here. So they're doing some other things here as well. So display inline block, that's fine. We don't want to worry about that. They're using a 16 pixel, fine. They're using a pointer when you hover over it. So it is still a button. There they've added, they've actually added a button to all buttons. They're going to do this, which is nice. Text decoration, none. Border, none. Maybe the border is what was getting me on that. Let's change ours. Let's do a border, none. None. Okay, there we go. That got rid of that little thing. Now let's set a width on this. Set a height and a width on this, just to help round it out for us. So we want it to look kind of like a square. We want it to be a circle, not an oval. And so to do that, you have to have it within a square instead of a rectangle. Width 30 pixels. The other thing I want to do, and I think they did it here, I want to do the background color. Now, if you hear some weird sounds, I do have a puppy below me. She's chewing on a bone right now, so she likes hanging out with Dad while he's coding and doing all kind of things at work. So if you hear something like some gnawing or something, that's not me. I'm not gnashing my teeth or anything. It's her chewing on her bone. We're going to do a light blue here. All right, so let's come back over. No, that's not the one I wanted. This is it. Let's look at this. Oh, that's better. It's better, but it pushed it to the bottom. I think it's because of my font size. So maybe we need a bigger. Maybe we need, let's try 50 here. Again, this is why I'm not a designer. A real designer probably said, yeah, for that font size, you need to have this size box, all that kind of stuff. Not me. That looks better. I wish our plus sign looked a little bit better, but you know what? I think it looks pretty good. I like it. I'm digging it. So, do we want to move it over to the right? Can we move it to the right? The other thing that's pretty cool to do if you're doing web development is I like playing around with things inside the Chrome DevTools. So I can actually focus on this here and I can actually add new things, such as that's horizontal spacing. Let's do, is there an align? Is that what I want to do? Right? Yeah, nope, it didn't like that. Maybe end. Yeah, no, but it didn't. Because there is a container. It's actually within a container, which is there. So let's see if we can't do that. Let's do our friend DuckDuckGo again. CSS right side. Floats on both sides. I don't want to float. I want to go to the right, guys. Element right side of container. Or position a div container on the right side. No, no, no. How do I right align div elements? That's kind of what we're doing. Float.right. Well, of course, you know it would be that easy. All right, let's see what that does. Hey, look at that. Does that look right? I think it looks pretty good. Do I want to move it over? Because the only way to move it over is to... So if I expand this all the way... Yeah, see, it just jumps out. I kind of want a... well, we may have a container within a container here. Because we... Let's try that. So actually, I'm going to put... I have a container that shifts everything for bootstrapping. And I'm going to have a container in there, which is kind of our width of our elements. So let's work on that real quick. Because I like that. I want it to be over there, but I want it to maintain. I want it to be underneath all the items. So it remains its context. If you move it too far over, it's kind of like, well, what is that button? Why is it out there? What does it do? You keep it close to the elements that it directly affects. You get what's called context, which lets us know this button is basically for these things here. All right. So we want to put another div here. Dove. Yes, Ryan. We're raising doves now. That we want this to actually come back over. There we go. Alignment shouldn't be that hard. One of these days I'm going to sit down and figure out what that is, but that's not today. All right. So we've got that. So we need to actually set the width on it. So I set the width on some of these items up here, 500. So maybe we want it to be 600 in width. We're going to call this, I called that main. We're going to call this inner. Could we call it main? Could we move that? Would that? We might be able to do that. Don't want to have to create an extra element if we don't have to. So we could probably take main off of here and put it down in here. It should still give us that adjustment that we wanted, but it's also going to let us do the other piece, which is set the width of it to 600 pixels. Yeah. All right. Edit. There we go. Oh, look at that. Very close. Very close. See, we still have it coming off the top there like we wanted. We have our spacing, and then we have our button. We could say on our button we want to, instead of having it bounding over against the edge of that box, we want to adjust the margin right, and we want to bring it in 30 pixels. See what it looks like. Better. We want to bring it in. Let's take it to 50. See what 50 looks like. There. I like that. I think that works. So if we click the button, we get a new item. Oh, look at that. We got to fix that. We'll do that next. But why did it put that border around there? Let's come back. I want to come back here real quick. I want to look at this. If there's a way to get rid of that border. Let's try it. Let's use our friend here. So that worked good for that. Oh man, it went away. DuckDuckGo.com. Oh, if you're a developer, guess what? The .dev domain, sorry, sidetrack here, is actually goes on sale tomorrow publicly. There's early access to it if you want to pay a premium. You can look at it at domains.google.com. And so pick a name, $12 a year. It's pretty reasonable. It's actually cheaper than like GoDaddy. But there is customizable domains. Come on, talk about .dev. Let's find a domain. Features, learn. Let's use DuckDuckGo here. And .dev domain early access. Google domain. So Google owns the .dev domain. They paid for it. And they're allowing, anybody, if you want early access. So it goes on sale tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to pay the early access fee then. It's just like $12 a year, depending on the domain. So there are some premium vanity domains that cost a lot more per year, but you get a nice one, yourlastname.dev, and you can have that, and you can host your website from there because you're a developer. If you're a company out there who wants to have some developer docs, a .dev is pretty cool to have. But it goes on sale tomorrow, so just some little nerdy thing I was nerding out about when I saw it. So I've got one. I've got another one I kind of want to get as well. Hopefully it's not taken tomorrow. But it's an awesome domain to get. It kind of shows you're a developer. When you're out looking for work or you're promoting yourself at a conference or a meeting or something, you can say, hey, mine is ryan.dev. Go check me out. Kind of a little nerdy thing. All right, back to it. I don't even know what I was doing. Oh, yes, DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo.com. I promise I will not sing anymore. All right, here we go. What are we looking for? Oh, yes, button. CSS, remove selected state. Remove selected outline on buttons. That's what we want. Outline is none. Perfect. Because I don't want that. With the circle, it seems a little square around it. You don't like that. So we can do outline, none. Let's give it a shot. Do that. Add a new item. Hey, look at that. I like it. Oh, hey, my spacing isn't there. Got to update the templates here. Okay, so a couple things we got to do here. Before we go fix that, git commit. Get in the habit. This is one little thing you can do that will help you help keep things small and help you easily revert some bad changes down the line if you find out, wow, that was not a good idea. But you don't want to have to revert everything. You can just take that one commit out. Makes it nice and simple. So we're going to do git add dot git commit. Do a git status just to make sure. Always want to do a git status so you make sure what you stage is what you intended to stage. You don't want anything weird creeping in there. Because getting things out of a repo, getting Yes, getting things out of a repo is not the most easy task. I've not done it yet, I don't think, because you got to think everything's being tracked in history. So you don't want it to ever see like it was there. So especially when you get to config settings and secrets and stuff like that that you don't want checked in. So we're doing, that's what we want. -m styled the add button. That's what we did. Looks good. I like it. So within PowerShell, you can use commands like that you use normally on the command prompt, CLS, to clear the screen, or just clear, which is a PowerShell specific one. So. Sorry about that. All right, so now what we're doing, we're fixing when we add a new item. So there is an actual command down here or a JavaScript function that actually adds a new item. All right, edit, on add item. So here we go. If you're curious about this little spacing thing here, a couple streams ago I talked about it, but there's some little weird thing that happens when you insert an LI item. There's some pre-rendering, how the LI is actually in there and how the spacing is done. It's just weird, and it affected the styling, the way, the appearance of it. And so when I dynamically create the LI item, it was looking different than what one from our normal razor was generated. So I use this spacing to help mimic that razor generation, which then allows the stylings to look correct on all the different elements. All right, so we had the LI, there's our input. The LI, we need to add the class here, don't we? Because we added a class to our LI, which we added, what class did we add there? Our LI, we added, nope, wasn't the LI, was it? Ooh. Oh, yes, we did. We added it. Not there. We added it down when we did our changeover here. We added the class. Where'd you go? List item. Okay. So we create our LI. And in here I can do class. We'll say list item. I think that works. The other thing we got to add is we also have to add a trash can, right? So that actually gets added down here. So that's that, checkbox items. We append this. So this is something we want to mimic here. Down in here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wrap this to the next line because that should still work. If it doesn't, we'll find out. All right, I think that does it. So let's check it out. Okay, that looks right. Add a new item. We got our spacing and we got, oh, we're missing a space between that can. All right. It's okay. We'll figure this out. All good. We're this close to getting that piece done. And I have 7 minutes. I can get it done in 7 minutes, I promise. All right, so this added a span. This added an element. Let's see. For each element in there, it added, I'm sure there's a spacing issue. Let's It's probably another one of those spacing things. The best way to find these out is to actually use the Chrome developer tools. So we want to look at this. Really what I want to look at is I want to look at the edit as HTML. So this is how I found out that everything was, had these little spaces in them. So I'm betting I need, this one doesn't. That's not right. I want to look at this one. Hang on. This one. Come on, Ryan. Yeah, look at that. Need to add that spacing. Okay. Easily fixable. And that one's good. It's actually down. Yes, it's down here. Dot append. Do that. That should work now. Control-Shift-R. Edit. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. And we can add one. There we go. Now everything looks the same. It was a weird spacing bug. I actually found one blog post out there that had all the information about this because it was a very obscure thing that happened. Hopefully I bookmark that because I can hopefully write about that. All right. That looks good. I like it. The only thing is we have to style the edit button. So what does a good edit button look like? And that may have to wait for another time. Let's commit this. Git status. Git add dot. Git commit dash m. And we want to say, what do we want to say? Added delete glyphicon on newly added items. There we go. Perfect. All right. Only other thing I want to do is I want a different edit button. What is a good edit button? We have a couple minutes here. Let me get this. Edit button CSS. Editing buttons in CSS. That's probably not what I meant, or what it thought I meant. I'm just looking for a good style of an edit button. All right. Bootstrap buttons with icons. How to create bootstrap buttons with icons. That's kind of a nice edit button, don't you think? Let's see if it tells me how to do that real quick. Glyphicon buttons. I get a button there. Choosing bootstrap. I could use this button. What if I button edit? Button dash edit. Let's see. Oh, there's an edit right there. And so the edit one is. So it's going to use this class. And it's going to have that glyphicon in there. All right, so let's do this real quick. I can do this. We can do this. We can do this.
Just do it!
That's right. All right, where are you at? Edit button, edit button. So we want to add that because we do have Bootstrap already in there. The next thing it did, it actually put a span in here, which we will do the same. because I like that little icon. I think that's perfect. Let's change it to a capital E. Saved it. Refresh. Look at that. I don't like the size. This font seems small to me. There it is. That I like. I'm good with that. Maybe I should have just done that with the add button. I don't know. I'm going to stick with this. I actually like that color. I wonder, can I do a color picker here? I would love to do a color picker because I'd love to get that color. You know what? Another good thing that the tools are for, it'll tell you the color. What's the current color? There it is. It's using a gradient. We can do that. We can do that, can't we? Sure. Let's copy that linear gradient. Let's come back to our code here. Background image. There we go. I don't need that extra there. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Edit. Is the gradient there? It may be. It may just be too light for my eyes. I'm gonna use my friend Google real quick. Or DuckDuckGo. That's who I'm gonna use. Just back here, back out. DuckDuckGo, CSS, linear gradient. So yeah, that looks right. It's from the MDN web docs. Now I may need to change something here. So this says to bottom. Is that actually a valid? Delete the. I'm gonna. To bottom. Oh, it didn't give me IntelliSense for that. I don't like when it doesn't give me IntelliSense. Linear gradient and the cascading style sheets. So it uses to left there. So I'm guessing I can use to bottom. So if I change that to bottom. So you can see it changed. So let's make sure I got these in the right order here. Linear dash gradient to bottom. And then we're doing a color 0% to another color to 100%. That should be right. I could test that by doing this one. No. That's doing a couple steps. So we should be good here. That should be right. There, so yeah, it's actually giving me that. Okay, they're just so close that it doesn't look like it, but it does give me that. Gives me that tie in there. All right, so we're gonna call that good. We're gonna call that. Come in here, get status. There we go. Add dot get status. Okay. Let's see, let's added that. Git commit adjusted. Or no, this is the edit button, isn't this? So we want to say made edit button more stylish. I have no better way to say it. And made add button color complement. I've got no better way to say it. It all sounds good. All right, so now we've done all that. We're going to push everything up. So we're going to push everything up to our repo. So now that everybody else can do, I've got to go. I'm actually 4 minutes over. I'm late for my meeting. Yeah, I screwed the pooch on that one. So, hey, thanks everybody for joining me. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you learned a little bit about styling applications. I can go ahead and check that off on our list over here. You can't see it because I'm at full screen now, but I went ahead and checked off the fixed styling because I think it looks much better now. I think we're ready to actually submit our pull request to Jeff. And hopefully, he'll review it on his stream and we'll be good to go and it'll be in there. So next time we will go over how to commit. One of the things we're going to want to do is we're going to pull down all the changes that him and the other contributors to his repository have done. They've been making some changes, hopefully nothing in our little area. That way we aren't kind of overstepping on anything. That can make merges a little bit harder. Hopefully we've kept it easy. And then we'll create our PR. And then we'll just wait and see what happens. So thanks everybody for watching. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Well, chatting to you all next week in the chat room. Thank for Jacques and everybody who joined me today. Anytime you stop by, just say hey in the chat room. Let me know you were there. Thank you everybody who's continuing to follow me. Every week I get 1 or 2 new people following. I really appreciate it. Once we get to 50, I become an affiliate and we can start making hopefully some new things happen. So let's get to 50. If you know another dev out there that could benefit or who wants to help contribute, send them my way. Send them over here. Tell them we want to talk to them. We want to see what they have to do, what they have to offer. And anybody new, veteran, transferring over, anybody who wants to help, who wants to be a part of this group, part of this stream, that's what the chat's for, to give us a place to talk about things, to see things. I'm trying to be much better about monitoring my chat, and hopefully it's a lot more timely than some of my previous ones. Thanks again for joining me. I'll chat with you next time. See ya.